as Wilco makes a run ahead of him. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Davi's ass totally stranded.
Hello, and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland. Allegedly, still going strong after 10 years as an Arsenal podcast. We've been away for a little while because there's not been really much to talk about. Plus, everybody's really busy, and Josh has been busy trying on jaunty hats and Chris complaining about running 100 miles a month. I don't run 100 miles a month, and I'm perfectly happy. With me tonight to talk about the pre-season games, to talk about the transfers and their hopes and dreams for next season. Top right-hand corner, it's Cactus, Cash, or Rich to his mates. How you doing, Treacle?
I'm doing very well, Danny. How are you, mate?
I am full. I'm on a diet of meat, potato, and fruit. It's like being a caveman again, and I'm weeing every 4 hours. So sometimes it's best not to answer questions like that, isn't it?
That's I slightly regret asking it, but yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's good to know that you're doing well, mate. It's good to know that you're doing well.
Have you missed us? Because it's been quite a while since you've been on, because you've got kids and a job, and stuff that I don't have to deal with anymore. I have.
Every day, let's say I look at the old WhatsApp group and see all the messages in there, and I've missed like so many of them. It's just I don't have enough. Unfortunately, don't have enough hours in a day. But now that the football coaching season is officially finished and done for the until September, I can hopefully be a little bit more available for you guys.
Lovely. How did your girls get on?
Really good, to be honest with you. Like I say, we lost more matches than we won, but every single one of them was a much better player at the end of the season from what they started at, and it was really, really enjoyable, really enjoyable. So I was ready for a break of it. I've literally been coaching now because I did the entirety of last summer for almost 2 years constant, and I'm absolutely knackered. But it's been absolutely fantastic and enjoyable, and like I say, some good laughs along the way. So yeah, like I say, the only thing I can say is that they're better players now than they were at the start. So that's all I can ask for.
Excellent. Well, you're doing something good in the world. All I'm doing is screaming at my cat for being an arsehole. Also, with us tonight is the magic man. It is Femstar, the TMZ's very own, the man who witnessed Britney Spears being beaten up and was all over Twitter and the world. So we're glad you've gone full Jeff Arsenal on us, Femi. You've outgrown the pod already.
I'd rather not have that happen again. The amount of abuse I was getting, I didn't know about. I heard about stan culture, but I didn't know about it until I randomly tweeted something out that went on TMZ, and the amount of abuse I've got. Oh my gosh, I was getting abused left, right, and centre.
Why did you get an abuse?
Her fans. I don't know why. They just, you're lying and you made it up. They called me a TMZ plant. I was like, okay. They found my Instagram. They started messaging me on Instagram, abusing me there. I was like, okay. To be fair, I just
are notoriously mad.
I just muted the tweet and just got on with my life, to be honest with you.
How was Las Vegas though?
Oh, it was amazing. Every day was a movie. Every day.
Every
day was a hangover. I did. I won on my first night.
Of course you did.
And then I lost a little bit of the winnings, actually. I didn't bet any more of my own money. And then I thought, this is just a game of luck. And I thought, I'm not doing this anymore.
That's it. You never see a casino owner having to sell their house and become homeless. Don't gamble, people. Yeah. It's for mugs.
Yeah. I lost a quarter of what I won. That's what I lost.
Excellent. So how long are you back in the UK for now that you're you've left?
I was supposed to go away in August, but I'm staying here in this weather, this lovely weather that we have, this amazing summer.
I've looked it up. It is the currents coming from America and South America blowing across, getting cold and hitting us. It's going to be like this all the way through August as well. So,
no way.
Yeah. Worst summer I have ever known in my life. Absolutely.
It'll probably get hot in September. You'll be shocked.
Oh, that'd be nice. Let's say hello to some of the cheeky monkeys that have joined in with us tonight. We've got Phil Macker. Do I need to apologise for doubting Havertz yet? I think you may well have to. Rudy is there. Says not yet, Phil, but he's going in the right direction with these kind of performances. Rudy says evening. Michael in Sweden is there. He's double dipping. He's on YouTube and he's on Twitch. Lovely job. I should actually go and get the podcast Twitch up, and then I'll have it there just in case I need to send a special hello to anybody. There we go. Who else? We've got Patrick Carlson, I think, also in Sweden. Avon Not Teddington, he's there. Mr. Waffles in Portland. Don't tell me you're not in Portland. I know where you are. Jim Eves, hello. And no Emirates Cup against Monaco. Oh, right. I thought you were saying there is none. No, the next game's that, and then we've got the Charity Shield. Loki, how do you do this? Formerly Noza, good evening. As long as you stopped with the scampy fries, Danny, I haven't had anything nice for so long. It's ridiculous. I think I've been keto because all I'm doing is weeing, and all I'm eating is fruit and meat. And I'm going to go and live in a cave. Who else is here? Russ, good evening, everybody. And Mr. Waffle said he's in Portland, Maine. I bet he's not. I bet he's telling me porky pies. Right, so let's get on with this then, you two. We have played 4 pre-season games. 1-1 at Nuremberg, and Saka scored. And then the MLS All-Star game, 5-0. But that is playing against a load of players that don't play together. Jesus, Trossard, Jorginho, Penn, Martinelli, and then Havertz. And then the Man United game, which was quite weird because it was more like a Fight Club game. We lost 2-0 there. And then last night, Femi, you, me and Karl were up in the WhatsApp group at, 4, 5, 6 a.m., still talking all the way through the game. We beat Barcelona 5-3. We could have beaten them 10-3. What do you think about that game?
It could have been 10-5 as well. They hit the bar a couple of times as well. It was... I mean, a lot of people haven't seen it, but the first half was just absolutely crazy. It was just tackles flying in left, right, and centre. To be fair, now that I look back at it, I was like, I actually loved it. It was great. It was crazy, wasn't it? Yeah. From the first minute, there was just fouls, tackles. Clearly there was an amateur ref in charge. And the players kind of noticed that. And another thing is the players noticed that in pre-season, I'm not really going to get a red card, so I can kind of do whatever the hell I want. You know, there's guys handballing the ball when it's going right into the net, and they're not even getting yellow cards. You know, it was just like a free-for-all game in that first half. It was, I think we started a bit frantic, is what I'd say. Arsenal, Barcelona literally employed the same tactics that Man United tried, which is to defend deep and to hit us with long balls, which it seems that that's a tactic that a lot of teams are going to try against us this season, because they noticed that even Barcelona, the great Barcelona, couldn't outdo us in possession. You know, the way that we play now, we dominate possession against, even Man City did it against us. Even when we went to the Etihad, they knew that we were going to dominate possession, dominate the territory. So they just decided to just hit the ball long, and sooner or later we have to find a solution to that. I mean, I saw some different tactics yesterday, even though the formation kind of seemed the same. The tactics were a little bit different in that, I don't know if you noticed, Danny, but all our midfielders decided to abandon their positions the majority of the game, and everyone went to press. Even Thomas Partey was going forward to press.
That is a worry for next season, because no Xhaka to do defending midfield, and everyone seems. I said in our group, I said it's almost like a six-a-side at times, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was that crazy, because literally Arsenal would go forward, they'll press so hard on Barcelona. Barcelona would get 2 passes, and then they just got a man running towards our back 4 basically, with no midfield in sight, and our midfielders running back. It was just crazy, and it was like that all first half. But somewhere in the half, I think when we go behind, we seem to get a little bit frantic as well. But every time we seem to come back, then we calm down, then we go behind. But it was enjoyable. I mean, what else do you want from a pre-season? I'm sure our American fans will have. Is this how football is every week? They would love it.
Did you see any of it, Rich?
I saw. So I saw a chopped up 12-minute highlight thing on YouTube, and I saw today. I saw the first half on Arsenal Player. Yeah, it did seem, like I say, kind of frantic and a bit crazy. I saw. I kind of did, maybe, let's say, biased, because I saw. I think it was Femi's message in the WhatsApp group, him saying that Partey was like pressing like Torreira. Emery had Torreira doing, and I was like, it really is. It's just so kind of high. I don't know if that's how they're trying to counteract that ball over the top by stopping them from trying to play it or something. I don't know, but it was it did seem a bit frantic. I mean, like Barcelona are, I think, was that their first pre-season game, because their other game got called off, wasn't it? Because they had the same chef who did Tottenham's lasagna a couple in 06 or whatever it was.
Ooh, nice.
They all had the two Bob Bits, didn't they? So they didn't play against Juventus. So I think last night was their first game of pre-season, because it did look a little bit crazy, a little bit thingy. What did you guys think of the pitch as well? The pitch didn't look great. Like, it looked like a Sabutio.
Yeah. So the game was, I woke up to watch a game. So I woke up 3:25 just to find the right channel to watch it and all of that stuff. 5 minutes early. I ended up waking up about 3:15 before my alarm even went off. And I thought, okay, 3:15. I saw fake Arsenal team news that had El Neni and Eddie and someone else, and I was like, I'm not staying up for this. This is ridiculous. And then it turns out that Arsenal hadn't even posted the team news because the game's been postponed by half an hour. And I was thinking, okay, maybe it's because the crowd or whatever. Then the journalists started posting, well, no, it's because the pitch is so bad that Arsenal and Barcelona complained about it. And the pitch, whatever, the groundsman started trying to fix the pitch before the game could go ahead. Even up to the last minute, they were watering it, trying to pack. It was just ridiculous. And to think that the World Cup's going to be held in some of those stadiums in a couple of years, they really need to sort out their groundsman, because I don't know how they thought that was unacceptable. It was like bits of grass just thrown on the surface, basically.
It looked like a Sabutio, Matt. It looked like, like when you have to iron the Sabutio thing. It looked like that. It looked really crap. And it was really noticeable with Saka's pen. Like when he planted his standing foot, it was really, really noticeable then. But I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought the picture was a bit shocking.
It was crazy. The managers complained about it, apparently.
I got a video here because Fergus from Guns and Yellow Ribbon says, evening all, thoughts on Man United's rough tackle in a pre-season, is that ethical? So if I show you this and then I press play on here, you should be able to see this. Hold on, it's only 7 seconds. All right, people, look at that. This was he did this twice in the beginning of the game. That is for a pre-season friendly, and he didn't get booked for either of them. I think that was the turning point in the game for Arsenal, when we went, hold on a second, meant to be a pre-season friendly. Oh, it's WrestleMania. Right, get these gloves off. We're going to show you. And then people started. Ben White took one out, and then Partey was getting stuck in, and quite a few of them played. That game was ideal.
Jorginho did one as well. That was dirty. To be fair, our tackles were more like dirty in terms of breaking up play. Their tackles were like flying scissor tackles on players. Yeah. There was one on Havertz that I think it was the same player, and then he picked up the ball, and I thought he was going to kick out the referee. He booted the ball straight in the air. That's eventually what he got booked for. It was crazy.
Rich, does this give you hope for the season coming up that we managed to smash Barcelona 5-3? But when you look at their team, they're not the Barcelona of old, are they? Lewandowski, old man, free transfer. Oriol Romeo, Southampton reject, probably a free transfer. Gundogan, free transfer. Alonso, free transfer. Christensen, free transfer. some bloke up front is as he's got 3 Z's in his name. Never heard of him. So is this a kind of a false hope if we think that's it? Champions League is on.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, even at the best time, you can't read massive amounts into pre-season because so many teams are at different stages and want to get different things out of the games. Going back to what we're saying about the fact that this Barcelona team this was their first game. Man United when we played them the other week, a couple of days ago. They were 1 game ahead of us as well. And, whereas we wanted to try out, having Havertz and Rice in the team, giving Rice his debut and so his proper start and stuff like that, they were more intent on kicking lumps out of each other. And I felt that we didn't really respond to that physicality in the same way that we did in the Barcelona game. But no, I mean, it's not a prime vintage Barcelona team, by any stretch of imagination. I mean, they still won La Liga. They're still La Liga champions. So they're still a really, really good side. They're still a top side, but they're not of the vintage of old. But even though you can't really read too much into it. For me anyway. I don't. You guys have different opinions, but you can't really read too much into pre-season just because it's all about levels and trying to find different things and you're working out different formations. Tomiyasu on the left trying to change that inverted fullback. Just little things that you're trying to work on and trying to get out of the game. It's not about that high pressure trying to get those 90 minutes. So that's clearly what United were after in that game. They wanted to win that game at all costs. That's why they were closing down like crazy people. They were, Martinez was fucking kicking, trying to break Saka's leg. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. That guy, that was what they were. That's what they wanted to get out of that game. They wanted to win that game at any cost. Where I didn't think that we did. We were there as a pre-season fixture. We were there to try different things, to experiment a little bit and just get minutes and things into the lads. So yeah, you can't really read too much into it. I don't know about you guys.
Well, I looked at the Champions League pots yesterday and I said, now that there's a bit of needle between Barcelona and Arsenal, I'm betting that we're going to draw them in the Champions League groups because they're in pot 1, aren't we? And we're in pot 2.
Yeah.
I've just got.
Well, it's either Barcelona or Bayern Munich. So they're the only teams. Yeah, they're the teams we draw every year in the fucking Champions in the Champions League. So yeah, we're bound to get one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I can see that happening.
Well, how do you feel about Saka last night, Femi? Was it you that put in the group? He has to be considered as one of the world's best players anytime soon, the next couple of seasons. Because just last night he could have had 4 goals in the first half, couldn't he?
Yeah, I said that yesterday. I said, just looking at him, any pitch that you put Bukayo Saka on, he's always the best player. Whether it's for England, whether it's for Arsenal, whether it's against any team you put him against, he's consistently the best player on the pitch. Yesterday, Barcelona didn't know what to do with him. Alonso just was having a nightmare with him. He was taking him inside, outside, to the cleaners, everywhere he was taking him. And he was putting in crosses. The penalty was from a cross from him. The goal was a chance he manufactured. There was another chance. There was just chances just all the time. And I just thought he's just 21 and 22 soon. He's just getting better and better and better. And he's so important to us. He's playing nearly 90 minutes now in preseason friendlies even. He literally plays every minute for us. It does make it difficult to buy a player to back him up because he kind of, if you're trying to bring someone in, they kind of look at his minutes and go, well, he plays so many minutes. How am I ever going to get a chance? So that's a different thing. But I just said, I think now he needs the Champions League stage. Once he does it on the Champions League stage, I'm thinking that people are going to now start saying he's one of the top few players in the world. I don't know what anyone thinks. I think we're just spot because we see him every week. But any stage you put him on for England, he's consistently the best player out on any game that he plays. In 2 tournaments, he did it at the Euros and the World Cup. if he does it in one more tournament, how many players get to do good player or good performances in 3 different tournaments? So he's just getting there. And, we got a real gem. He signed a contract. He's here to stay.
And that just getting all those contracts signed, Richard. We've got a list new contracts. Havertz, no, they're the ones. So where's Saka on here? Oh, Saliba, 27. Nelson is 27. I think Saka. The Saka sign his new one, was that to 27 as well?
4 years as well, yeah, 4 years.
So no one is going anywhere anytime soon. How do you feel about him, Rich? Being someone who is what's the word I'm looking for? Coaches young people, and you're looking for talent in them, raw talent. What do you see in him that that might not be obvious?
Yes, well, it's not that it's not obvious. It's abundantly obvious. It's willingness and application. Like he grew up not far from down by my way. Like I'm about 250 yards from Greenford Celtic, where he used to play. One of my best friends, his wife was his English teacher at Greenford High. From a young age, he was marked out as being exceptional.
Didn't he have a star? About 14 of them or something?
Yeah, quite possibly. I don't know that. I don't know the exact. I don't know his exact full report card. But from anyone you ever hear about him or speak to him, I said, what a nice, down to earth lad he is and stuff like that. But I mean, he's got a hunger and a willingness to get better and to compete. Like, he's no shrieking violet. Like, he might be a little bit shy and a little bit quiet and, not the most vivacious when it comes to, interviews and stuff like that. But mate, you get him on a pitch, he very rarely gets kicked off. He very rarely gets massively bullied or anything like that. He's up for the fight. He's got that, very similar to, a little bit like Dennis Bergkamp, maybe not as edgy, but he's got that hardness, that steel to his game. But I think that, you can see it with Bukayo in the sense of, when he first broke onto the scene and they're playing him at left wing back, and we thought he might be the standout at left wing back. Like, that was going to be his position because he was so good at it, and his application towards learning that role and getting better and applying himself and you thought that might be his position. Now he's moved to another position. He's absolutely, taken the world by storm. For me, like if when I'm coaching and I look at the biggest thing I look for and the biggest thing that I kind of gravitate and I try to instill in it is the application in the kids, in the willingness to learn and to take it seriously and get better and don't be afraid to fail. And that's one of the things that I see in Bukayo. He doesn't seem overawed or scared by any challenge. It's on my right foot, I'll have a shot with my right foot. You want to show me down thing, I'll go down here. Are you going to try and kick me? I'm going to stand and I'm going to shield and you're not getting this ball. And that for me is his biggest thing. Like, he's got all the talent in the world in his feet, but he's also got all the right stuff mentally up top.
Have you seen the recent picture of him in training? The way he looks.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
Yeah. He's getting stronger now as well. Yeah,
it is. That is, and FK retweeted it the other day. Femi, you just put in the chat that Saka has 4 AE stars and 3 A's. It's not bad, is it?
While playing football, that's more than me, and all I had to do was study.
To give some idea of just how, this is becoming a Saka Wonderland. He's 28 games for England, 11 goals, and he's only, is he 21? Yeah, he's still only 21. Players that he has scored the same number of goals for England, 11. John Barnes, Stanley Matthews, Teddy Sheringham, and players he scored more than. Gascoigne got 10, Joe Cole got 10, Franny Lee got 10, Peter Beardsley got 9, Ian Wright got 9, Mark Haitley got 9, Glenn Hoddle got 8, Alan Ball got 8, Walcott only got 8, Daniel Sturridge got 8. Trying to get some more. Emile Heskey got 7. Harry Maguire doesn't count. Ashley Young, got 7. The Ox got 7. Darren Anderton got 7. Robbie Fowler and Jamie Vardy only got 7 each. Chris Waddle only scored 6. So for him at 21 to have already scored 11 goals, that is magical. What a player.
He just needs to take over penalty duties from Harry Kane now, and he'll probably try and catch up. The amount of penalties England get.
Well, like Paul says, Kane only has 11 if you take away his penalties. Paul did ask...
That can't be true.
No, I think he's making...
There's no way that can be true. He's got like 50 goals.
I think he does go quite down the list. If you take out his pens, I think he does drop down the list by quite a margin, I think.
But Saka needs to put his penalties away first, doesn't he? He needs to... How worried are you guys about that, actually? Yeah, I'm thinking... I was thinking about that. I think I don't mind him missing. It's the not hitting the target thing. I think he's got like one more miss in him before I really start doubting him.
But was that the pitch? Because Richard was saying how bad the pitch was.
Yeah, but hitting it wide though is crazy.
I didn't like how he started when he planted his standing foot. It looked all wrong, and that was straight away. I'm just going to make excuses for him, but straight away I thought that the pitch just looked wrong. What other penalty did he miss? Apart from obviously like the Euros one. Did he miss one?
Ham one.
Oh yeah.
Really?
We don't talk about that.
Big effect.
I absolutely erased that from my memory.
Yeah, that one went well wide as well. Now the thing that I'm thinking is even when he was scoring penalties, I didn't think it was like super confident. His penalties are the type of penalties that you have to send the keeper the wrong way. So he kind of rolls them in. If you see what I mean, he doesn't do like a Harry Kane and Van Persie where he blasts it into the corner. He really rolls them in. So very rare. I mean, so he scored like 6 or 7 in a row, and it's always quite nervous still, even when he's taking it on like some of those other players that I mentioned. But then I look at our team, and I was discussing this today. I was like, who else in the first team that starts is a penalty taker? You don't want Gabriel. Yeah, he doesn't start. That's the problem. You don't want Gabriel Jesus taking penalties because his penalty record is pretty terrible as well. It's actually quite bad. He's missed like 6 out of 11 or some silliness like that. You don't want... I mean, Trossard was one that we mentioned, but he's in and out of the team. We said Martinelli, but he missed against Sporting, the penalty shootout against Sporting. He missed that. So
he's only ever missed 2. I'm just looking at a transfer market. He scored 6, 1 against Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Spurs, and France. And he's missed 2, 1 against West Ham and 1 for England against the Czech Republic is called now.
What, is that Saka?
Yeah. So he's only missed 2 out of his...
He missed against Italy. That might not be right. He missed in the penalty shootout against Italy, didn't he?
Oh, I think that's penalty shootout, maybe not in-game penalties.
Oh, in-game penalties. Yeah, he's missed 1 then in-game because he wasn't a penalty taker before the Euros. It's only when he came back from the Euros he decided to start stepping up and taking penalties.
The one that he missed against the Czech Republic was at an under-18 tournament, so he's only actually missed 1 penalty from open play during his pro career. So scored 6, missed 1.
I think he's got a couple more. Let's keep him on there. Let's keep him on there. But yeah, Jorginho is probably a good shout, actually, isn't it?
Did it for Chelsea. That's why when we were signing him, I said his stats are misleading because he took all the penalties. I think it was one season he may have got 10 goals in a season. I think. I'm just going to go down and have a look at that. Penalties, Rich, should it be if you get it on target? That's the most we can ask from you. But when people are putting them wide and putting them over, is that unacceptable?
Kind of, like you say, the odds of, like say your percentage of, of you scoring is insanely high with a penalty. 12 yards, that goal, you don't really appreciate it until you're standing in front of it, how massive that goal actually is. you should be scoring and hitting the target at the very least. I think for me, Saka's misses don't cause me anywhere near as much cause for concern as Ramsdale's inability to seemingly save penalties.
Oh, here we go.
Oh
here we go. Go on, then.
No, I'm not having a pop. I love Ramsdale. I'm not having a pop. But as I say, I don't get nervous about Saka taking a pen. I have zero. I just say David Seaman is doing goalkeeper training supposedly at Colney. He needs to have a whisper in old Aaron's ears and tell him the secret sauce about saving them pens, because let's say he never looks like he's gonna say I was always confident that Jens would save a penalty. I was always confident that that David Seaman would save it, even Almunia. But let's say as soon as Ramsdale there's a penalty against Ramsdale, I have zero confidence that he's gonna fing it. But yeah, I wasn't trying to have a pop at
Did you watch the penalty shootout against Manchester United?
No, my screen stopped.
Seriously, he might as well not have been in goal. He might as well just not have been in goal. There was two penalties that he literally just didn't even bother. He didn't even dive. He just basically turned around basically and said, just have the goal. He needs that practice. I wonder what if he saves them in training, but he doesn't even come close to them. He doesn't even go the right way. Nothing. I don't get it. I've been trying to work out.
Is that something you learn with age, though?
Is it? I don't know, because
looking at his career, he has played 204 club games in his career. So it's not exactly that he's not played much.
Well, look at Petr Cech. Petr Cech played for 40 years, and I don't think he got any better at saving penalties.
No.
Yeah, he was terrible. I didn't think I could see worse than him, but I do think that Ramsdale might be worse than Petr Cech. I remember when Petr Cech saved his first penalty for Arsenal. It was like the biggest cheer in the stadium. Maybe it was because it was against Troy Deeney as well.
What would you say? Paul asks, Rich. He says, for a top quality penalty taker, what would be your acceptable miss rate? Something like 1 in 10? I think maybe 2 in 10 is fair.
No.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah. No, I just say, 2 in 10.
Should be 10 out of 10, Femi.
No, not 10 out of 10, but no, maybe 1 in 20 for a top quality. For an average penalty, that's
apart from Matt Letizia.
It's like Ivan Toney's and players like this. Like they regularly rattle penalties in. I mean, he's scored like 14 in a row before.
Yeah, but he's usually got money riding on it, so he has to make sure he scores.
Oh my goodness! Should we say 1 in 15? Call it like down the middle.
But I mean, for a top quality, if you're saying top quality, if you start missing 1 in 10, that's. Yeah, I guess maybe that's acceptable. Maybe, I don't know. If you're talking about, but then I guess penalties always depends when you miss it, doesn't it? It could be a key game that you miss a penalty, and that could cost you so much more than just, Saka probably missed 1 in 6, 1 in 7, and that West Ham one is ended up being quite costly in the end. So I guess it depends.
So, are we worried? Yes or no? Are we worried about Saka taking penalties, Femi? Then Richard.
He's got a couple more for me. He's still got a couple more before I start getting really worried.
Rich?
I'm misses, that is.
I'm not worried. I don't get the fear when he steps up with the ball in his hand and he steps up to the spot. So yeah, so I'm cool with Bukayo still taking penalties.
Good. So the other games, there's no really point talking about in the Man United. I don't think nobody wants to talk about a loss. I think we were the better team for most of the first half. We didn't take our chances. They got stats here. No, they've got no stats about the game. Femi, have you had any?
You know what? Could we quickly touch on the second half? Emile Smith-Rowe. I thought he was brilliant when he came.
Last night he was playing in a kind of central midfield role, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he took over from Havertz in the left 8 role. And I thought he just was so good that his presence was just so much more felt than Havertz. I mean, Havertz scored a goal. He had a couple of good passes, but when we're pressing in the second half with Emile Smith-Rowe, and then if you notice in the second half, that's when Trossard came in the game more because he had someone linking him to the game more. And I thought it was really, really impressive when he came on, and I really, really want him to do well. Like he's one of my favorite players at Arsenal so much, and I really want him to do well this season.
He looked super sharp when he came on in the United game as well.
Oh yeah. Yesterday he looks very, very good. Yeah.
So yeah, I echo what you know. Like I say, I don't think there's a player. I think there are more that I'm pulling for than ESR. Just to say he's come up through the academy kind of thing. You can see the talent that he's got, and when he burst onto the scene in that Chelsea game and almost pretty much single-handedly turned our season around. And he's been so unlucky with injuries and stuff like that. You're hoping that it's all behind him. But I'm glad, guys. I didn't get to see the second half, so I'm glad you pointed that out.
It was brilliant. And go on.
No, carry on.
I thought, he was really good. And like I said, he really brought Trossard in the game a lot. And Trossard was just second half was just magnificent. He's quietly effective for us, isn't he? That guy.
He is. He's Smith-Rowe. I always thought he was about 5'10", but it's according to Wikipedia, he's 6 foot tall. But it looks like he's grown a couple of inches and put on about a stone of muscle, doesn't he? And the way he was spanking those balls from the centre of midfield almost reminded me of kind of Bergkamp-esque way, where he wasn't afraid to have a pot shot from nowhere and stung the goalkeeper's hands a couple of times. And he's looking all bronzed and muscly. He looks like he's ready for the season. He's out there to make. And last night, like you were saying, he definitely was out there to try and prove a point, and I think he did it. So, Rich, do you think that's going to give Arteta a bit of a headache in come the season? Because how many players have we now got that can play in those 2-8 positions?
Well, I hope it gives him a massive headache. That's what we want. We want selection difficulties for Mikel. What we don't want, and it's one of the things that kind of is a slight criticism of Mikel is him kind of sticking to that first 11, his trusted 11, and not making changes, not rotating the squad, not having the confidence in those fringe players. And if Smith-Rowe is, like I said, if his cameo against Barcelona was better and a step up from his cameo against Man United, I'm very pleased and happy, because that's you didn't want him to say filing away and kind of ebbing away. I mean, you wanted him to fight for that shirt and fight for his place and improve. If he can bring in those link ups with Trossard, you've also got Fabio Vieira, who I think is now, more nailing down a position. I think, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, as kind of Odegaard's understudy, rather than going all over the place and trying to be a left 8 or something like that. If you've got that, that Smith-Rowe in that left 8 as a ball progressor with the ball, as in, someone who get the ball and carry the ball and, play 1-2s and then run beyond the defender, rather than a more of a tippy-tappy touch player kind of thing. And we have different options, because, that's one of the things that comes to start. You need to be able to change up your game plan. You need to be able to, if a team is sitting back and defending and sitting deep and trying to chop your legs and, pressing down and forcing your passes into areas that you don't want to go, you need to be able to come up with that plan B, that plan C, a different type of player to get people thinking, to pull people out of positions and change their thought process and put jeopardy and doubt into the opposition. And I think, we've got players that can do that, and we've got players who can offer different things, and the squad seems to be progressing and growing. I feel so bad for Reece Nelson again getting injured at a wrong zone, because he was another one who was, starting to put his hand up and and showing that he could be that different player that plays slightly different and offers us a little bit something different than what the players we've had on the pitch.
Very true. One final thing, if you two want to have a little think, if there's anything else you want to mention about the Barcelona game, anybody recognise any of these cheeky monkeys in the middle of this picture, high-fiving each other? Anyone? Can you recognise them?
I can recognise one, but who else you got there?
Right in the middle, you got in the yellow shirt, Magic Mike, and the other one is Mike Hurst, the fake Mexican.
Oh.
We got a little. Whenever we talk about Mr. Hertz, we are obliged to change it to the Mexican flag because he's a fake Mexican. Everyone knows that, just like me, he's a Guatemalan. So yeah, lovely to see. I messaged Mike and said, "I've just seen you," and then someone else obviously did it as well. And it's low. It's really, I think, it's really nice the way the company doing the filming made an extra effort to go and regularly show people in the crowd, because the crowd were absolutely fantastic last night. And all the people wearing the shirts and the joining in, and so many old shirts. I saw the yellow one with the blue 3 diagonal Adidas stripes. I saw quite a few of those in there, and they saw loads of the green kit, which is bloody the third kit, which is bloody awful. But have you got anything else?
Oh, really? I love that. The third kit.
Yeah,
it's not out yet. How did they get that?
That.
Oh, that's the away. That's the second kit.
Oh, you thought I meant this?
Yeah.
Oh, I want this one actually.
Would you wear this?
No.
Not that one.
No.
There's only one person we know that would wear that, and we'll put him in the right corner. If you look at him smiling at it.
Yeah. He's that kit it's grown on me slightly from like the early. It's grown on me slightly, like in the like when you first got the reveals, and like the either the cheap knockoff ones, or like that unflattering someone taking a quick picture kind of thing. And with the ad campaign and seeing the players in it and play, it's grown on me a little bit. I still don't like it. I think did one of you guys put in the group something about that could potentially be like the bruised banana in like 20 years time. It's a disgusting shirt that is now a cult classic. Because I say it might be unpopular opinion now, but like I hated the bruised banana.
But I wonder how much, if it's going to be the lowest selling kit that Adidas have done in this run of kits that they've done. We'll never get the stats, but I wonder if. Then also, what I really want to know, like, are we always going to go to America now every year? Do you think that's the plan? Because they're saying 20% of our merchandise and shirt sales is from America now. So do you think the plan is just forget about Asia and all those tours that we used to do and just stick to America? What do you guys think about that? Because Americans are treating us really well, and obviously our owners are from America as well. So
that's a tough one, isn't it? I like the fact that I feel that Americans are the same as us, aren't they? They're like us, and Australians and the Kiwis and the Canadians are all much of a muchness. Went over there, stole other people's countries, and then now we all live there. And they all live there. So it is good, and they really get into it. But I think you can't ignore the African market, the Southeast Asian market, because there's so many people there that are just as fanatic about supporting the Arsenal. We've got one of the best Japanese players, national players in the squad at the moment. But how many Premier League teams do you know that have ever had 3 USA internationals at the club at the same time? Trusty and the goalkeeper, who's Turner. And Balogun. I know Fulham have regularly got quite a few American players. But the fact that we've got 3 American players in our squad, not first team, that will probably soon go down to 2. I think that does make a big difference. But I like them going over there. But it's such a huge country, and there's so many demographics of people over there. And we can go to Mexico and play some games, because football in Mexico is massive, and you've got football in Canada, which is kind of big. Rich? What
was it? Was that a question?
Yeah, what do you think? Femi's question.
Yeah, well, like I said, because of that connection, let's say with the Cronkies and stuff like that, and you have just got that vast array of untapped resource and market to there. It would make sense to I think maybe Man United and Liverpool are not as, I think, entrenched in the American market than maybe they are in, let's say, Southeast Asia and stuff like that. So I think this is a little bit more open for us. You'd say you've got that revenue, and if we can, strike up deals and like I said, with these tours and sponsorships, and maybe get some of their stuff coming the other way, to the Emirates and stuff like that. I think that's the way that it's going to go. Like I say, you can just see by the amount of people that that have gone on tour there, the amount of fans that we're packing out in the bars, in the the tailgate parties and stuff like that. And even the stuff that Arseblog and the Arsenal Vision lot we're doing out there, their things are getting all packed out, and I don't know if you get the same level of interest and scope and eyeballs on the product if you let's say went over to Asia and stuff like that, just because I think Liverpool and Man United have got such a stronghold on that demographic, whereas I said, especially as it's growing, as the standard of the MLS is getting better and stuff like that, and Americans are wising up to football. I think it's an untapped market that I think we're ripe in the position to take advantage of. So why wouldn't we go there? And I think we are going to be going there for the foreseeable future.
Well, there you go then. Paul asked earlier, why haven't the Saudis tried to buy a Bergkamp Wonderland? I put in the group, maybe we should all pick a Saudi team and then we should do a Saudi podcast, and Chris told me to fuck off. So I don't think that's going to happen in any.
I would like to ask the chat something with all this Saudi stuff going on. If, let's say, on a day like this, but in November, and it's cold, windy, rainy, and you've got Sky Sports are offering you an option of Burnley versus Brentford, or you can watch a match in Saudi involving all these star players. What's everyone going to choose at the moment? It's getting to that level, isn't it, where people are just all these star players are going there, and it's creating this fantasy league that's just weird, isn't it? But I really wonder when they get a TV deal, it's going to really change the landscape, isn't it?
But it's the level of football from the average Saudi league player is conference or conference South football. You see videos of Ronaldo running along and people trying to hack him down. You are risking your health in your career and your long-term health by going there and play. It's like an FA Cup third round tie, every one, where you've got Arsenal or Man United or Chelsea playing against Yeovil Town or Rushden and
Grimsby
anymore. Yeah, so some rubbish team like that. Have you seen some of the stuff, Rich? Because it is ridiculous how much they are getting kicked and how poor the quality of the rest of the team is. I mean, they're allowed 8 foreign players per team.
I've not. I'd be lying if I said that I'd seen anything. I saw an article, something they were talking about the Jordan Henderson move, and they were saying about the average attendances at the games and stuff like that is like lower than League One.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to be too dismissive.
The attendance of the club, don't you dare, you stay there. I've got sausages. No, they've got sausages, and he's giving me the eye. I think the tweet said something like,
I didn't think my comment was that controversial, but I'm sorry, Dan. I'm sorry.
The team, Steven Gerrard's team that Henderson has gone and signed for, their average league attendance is less than 18 of the current last season's League One teams.
Yeah, it says it all.
I keep saying to everyone, the ultimate goal is for Saudi to, number one, get a strong TV deal across different places in the world. That's one. Number two, I would not be surprised if once the Super League idea came back up, but with these teams that are being stacked full of star players. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And that's when FIFA and UEFA are going to be trying to get involved again. I'll give it 4 or 5 years. And if we think that it's not possible, just go and look at what happened in golf. Just go and look at the way that everything that happened in golf, and listen to Rory McIlroy, what he said at the time, where he just put his hands up and said, well, I tried, but it is what it is. And that's eventually what's going to happen in football, because there's no way that they're stacking teams full of star players. Either they're going to try and force it and expand the Champions League, or a Super League idea is going to come up again.
I don't think it's either. I think it's simply, I read they bought the top 4 teams in the Saudi Pro League. They've allocated 20 billion for these teams and to get the World Cup after the USA, or the one after that. That's the only aim.
They pulled out of the World Cup bid. Huh? They pulled out of the World Cup bid. So that's not even...
when did they do that?
That's what I thought was the aim. Because they know that Spain, Ukraine, and Morocco or whatever are going to get it. So they've pulled out of that bid. So I thought the ultimate goal was to get the World Cup as well. But I think the goal is to create a bigger league.
Is it? I don't think it is. I don't think they have any ambitions to join UEFA, join FIFA. I know, like, you've got Israeli teams that are part of UEFA, and you've got the right-hand side of Turkey, which is Asia. The right-hand side of the Bosphorus, I think that's Asia, so they could be classified as Asian teams, but they're in UEFA. So I don't think they're going to stretch it all the way down to Saudi. I just think it's nothing short of a vanity project. And then it's interesting that the company that owns those 4 teams, PIF, the top 4 teams in Saudi, don't they own 15% of Newcastle? And then someone suggested that
they're a majority shareholder of Newcastle.
Are they? Or maybe
they own most of it. They own about 75%.
No, maybe I got
that Stavely and a few of those other people. They own the smaller percent of it.
I mean, when you look at the Mbappe deal, when £750 million for a season, and then you want a free transfer plus a 300 million transfer fee to PSG, but then you can go. I mean, what's going to happen there?
That was crazy. I didn't. That was just if it's that for 1 year. Oh, Jesus!
Right, it was so crazy. I wanted it to happen. I just wanted to see what would happen.
I always thought it was going to be that he wouldn't do that just because. But isn't the Euros next year? And we got the Euros next year. So, like, if he went there for 1 year, playing in, let's be honest, I know like a few clubs have bought like a few players, but the rest of the league is pretty basic and stuff like that. And, you know, he's going to literally, yes, he's going to be making, like, what was it, reported 700 million a year, but he's going to be like a fallow year for him. And then he's going to have to go into Euros with France.
But then the problem is PSG are threatening. They're threatening. I keep saying threatening to not play him for the whole season, which I'd love to see. I just want to see this happen. I want to see who's going to blink first, because this is actually the funniest football story I think I've seen in a long. I think this is like the Bosman of football, where the state of Qatar is taking on one single player who's the best player in the world. They're basically telling him, you do what we're telling you to do, which is you sign this long-term deal for this much money, or you leave. And he's saying, well, no, I'm not going to leave because my contract runs out in a year and I've pretty much decided where I'm going anyway. I want to see what happened. I really want to see what... Don't you just love it? Because all of this, they all deserve this for what happens with all the stupid money that they were throwing around. I think they all deserve what's happening. And I'd love him to take it to the end, because when he wanted to leave last summer and they begged him to stay, they got the French president involved. I just thought this is all ridiculous. And him himself, he got pressured into staying. But then he only signed a 2-year contract. So you knew that he didn't want to stay, because it's ridiculous. He signed a 2-year contract for unbelievable money. I think he's on like $500,000 or more a year. plus he's got bonuses and he's got loyalty bonuses involved as well, where apparently if he stays another couple of weeks, they owe him another 60 million for him to leave if they want to try and kick him out anyway. So when they were playing around with all these money and forcing players to stay against their will, did they not think, oh, this could backfire on us? So now everyone, all this rubbish that's been happening, everyone can have their cake and just let's see who wins this battle. Let's see who wins it.
Phil finished off the point I was making about the ownership of those 4 clubs and Newcastle. I wonder if the Mbappe deal would see him ultimately on loan to Newcastle for the season. But you can't.
I mean, you can't force players to do what they don't want to do. At the end of the day, unless if
there's infinite money,
unless they've got zero morals.
You'll be in. Nikki says in the chat, Femi beat up Britney Spears in Vegas. We've already covered that. Michael says PSG can bench him. The pressure in France will be insane. Chirobi says Mbappe supports quiet quitting. I
mean, well, Mbappe. I mean, well, I don't know. To me, it's just a bit weird because Mbappe, if you look at his image now, it's this greedy young player. Like, clubs have a way of tarnishing players' reputations, and if you don't, I mean, look at Barcelona. What weren't they? Their players like Messi and that didn't they call out and do some private investigation where they found out that the club were hiring people on social media to tarnish their reputation and their name? Like, if you don't believe that these things are happening, of course they are. The fans are turning on Mbappe because the club are telling them, okay, well, this is what he's doing all the time. But it is what it is, man. Like, everyone, if there's this much money, eventually, this is going to happen, isn't it?
I've got a little thing here just to bore people. I've just been keeping my own details of some of the money that people have been earning. Kubalai is 32, 481 grand a week. Ruben Neves, 270 grand a week. Sergio Milinkovic, 384 grand a week. Malcolm, the famous Malcolm that Chris said is definitely coming to Arsenal. He's just left Zenit to go to Al Hilal for 52 million. I don't know how much his wages are on. Ronaldo, £3.8 million a week. David Ospina, 67 grand a week, but he went there on a free transfer a while ago. Brozovic, 480. Fofana, 288. Alex Telles, 135. Firmino, 423. Mahrez, £8.26. No, 826,000.
826,000.
Jota's on 288 grand a week, and Kante is 1.9 million. Benzema, 3.8 million pound a week, and Rodrigo 200k. Jordan Henderson 700 grand a week. I mean, and all the ones in black down the bottom are the ones that I've just kept an eye on because they have been rumoured. Like Alan St Maximin going there for 30 million. He scored 1 goal last season. Partey.
Can they not buy? Do they none of them need a right back, a nice, good looking right back, or like a nice pacey left winger? Can they not come and buy Cedric and Pepe?
You think so? With the amount of money, I mean, they're full internationals, and I mean, I want to talk about Pepe and Partey, see what's going to happen to them. But Fem, got anything to say, and Rich, about those wages and Jordan Henderson and the amount of money there? Well, £3.8 million a week.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
We thought you were doing all right.
Oh,
Ferry is our very own Saudi prince.
It puts your TMZ money to shame, doesn't it? He'd be able to get two Conservatives for that money.
Some plant money, yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I couldn't believe Jordan Henderson was getting 700k a week. That's more than any Premier League player. He's rubbish.
Speaking of Jordan Henderson, did you see his unveiling video?
What need was he changing?
Yeah,
no, I haven't seen it.
You've not seen it. So they've done the video. The unveiling video. It's like a little clip montage of pictures of him and little short videos. And like some of the pictures are colours, some of them are black and white. But all the ones where he's wearing a Pride captain's armband, that little bit, every one of them is black, is greyed out. Like it's all completely thing. So like already, like they've started with that.
Yeah, true. Do you think that the fact that Liverpool have lost Firmino, they're going to lose Fabinho, they've lost Henderson? Do you think and with Man City losing Mahrez and they might be losing Walker and they've lost Gundogan, we haven't lost any of our stars. Do you think that's going to help us next season?
I don't know, because Arteta was complaining yesterday, wasn't he, that the squad's too big. He said, I can't work with this many players, which I haven't heard him say since the first summer he came. So I don't really know why he was saying that, because that kind of weakens our position when we're trying to sell players as well, because people know that we're desperate to get rid of players. But we've got to do a quick 2 weeks of just whittling down the squad. And like you said, there's a few players there that you can just rattle off that will just go on loan quickly. But we do need to raise some money, because we spent quite a lot of money this summer. And I'm not an accountant or anything, but we can't keep spending without bringing in any transfer fees, which that's the next big step for Ed, isn't it? Is how do I raise money? How do I bring in big fees? Because that's one thing he hasn't been able to do since he's been at Arsenal.
I mean, to be fair, we've always been in a weak position for sales because we've been shite. You know, this is true. Like finishing fucking 8th and you know 5th and that we're in a much better position to sell and recoup some players. But I'm surprised nothing's happened already. Excuse me. You know, like let's say with the likes of Cedric, with the likes of Pepe, even Big Bob Holding, or you know, Trusty going on. You know, if they're going to loan him or sell him and stuff like that. You know, I'm sure that Balogun's going to be off soon as well, considering he's, you know, the United States number 9, how little he played and featured.
Yeah, he's training on his own as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I didn't know if that was an injury thing or.
He said he had a foot injury. Whether it was a like an Arsene Wenger type foot injury or an actual foot injury, we'll never know. And Declan Rice actually got a knock as well in training, which was another thing Arteta mentioned. He said he got a kick in the calf and they didn't want to take any risks, which I really hope is not Zinchenko type calf.
Mate, that guy hasn't missed a game for about 4 years or so like that, playing for West Ham, playing 90 minutes every single thing. He joins from the Arsenal, he's got a muscle injury or like, you know, you can't make it up.
Yeah, and Zinchenko is the missing man who I was saying to someone the other day, if in football terms, Zinchenko stopped playing before the end of last season. I don't even remember. They got that thing from David Hornstein and people were arguing he is fit, he isn't fit, blah, 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 blah. And it turns out he missed the rest of the season. So that was in about April, I want to say.
He played 27 league games.
Yeah, beginning of May, maybe. And we're entering August and he's not played. That's basically 3 months he's been out injured. And we haven't even blinked an eye. Like, that's a 3-month injury, you know, through the holidays and everything. And I really wonder what is going on with Zinchenko. He had this calf injury for pretty much the majority of last season.
Sometimes let me put a disclaimer. I'm in no way comparing me to any professional athlete. I injured my calf last year. It took about 7 months, 7-8 months for it to properly hit. Like, and we've doing like proper, you know, all right, NHS, but like proper physio and everything. It took so long. It's such a tricky, horrible injury to get over, kind of thing. Especially with, you know, that's part of your job. You're putting stress in and power and fatigue and, you know, stress through that muscle all the time. So I have my sympathy for him. But like I say, again, it's the curse of Arsenal, isn't it? Like I said, we get a player who's played loads of minutes. As soon as he joins us, bang, there's the curse of the injury.
Just looking at his injuries here, it says The 14th of April, unknown injury, out for 3 days, and the 7th of May, like you were saying, Femi, disrupted calf muscle. 81 days.
81 days.
Wow. That is.
And I'm sure
yeah.
he had a few niggly cough at the beginning of last season because Tierney was playing quite a bit, wasn't he, at the beginning of last season as well.
About Partey, where are we on Partey at the moment? He hasn't really played much. I know he started the game last night, but where do we feel about his position in the team, and where do we feel his position at the club? Because I showed you these two things. We've got two formations, I think, that have been taking shape. For those at home on the bus having a wee and taking the dog for a walk, we've got the usual back five with White and Zinchenko as fullbacks, Rice in the DM, Havertz and Odegaard in the middle, and then we know the front three. Or is it going to be Partey in the DM, Rice in the central midfield next to Odegaard, and Havertz up front at times? Because we did see quite a lot in the pre-season friendlies that where last season it had been Odegaard would make the runs forward into the box to do the creative stuff. He's now staying a little bit deeper or staying more in central midfield, and Havertz is the one making those forward runs. Not to much effect, but Rich, what do you think about that and with the Partey situation?
I'm a massive Partey fan of the ability that guy has on the pitch. When he's not right, he really doesn't look right, and it really noticeable because that's how good that guy is. For most of the season when he's playing for us, that guy he's a one-man midfield almost. He's playing in that DM, and he's kind of got that all on his own. Showing shapes, showing letting the ball run across his body and stuff like that. He's so integral to what we do. We miss him so badly when inevitably, unfortunately, when he plays too much, his body kind of breaks down on him. I would be loath to sell him, just because you're taking 3 parts of, quite frankly, the best midfield in the Premier League last season. Right up there with Man City, and you're replacing both of them in one transfer window. Yes, Declan Rice is a fantastic player, bought for a lot of money, but I didn't watch a lot of West Ham last season, but I'm fairly certain he didn't play that position on his own like how Partey would do. So there's a lot of integration that he needs to do. So unless you've got like another replacement, because I think Partey is too big a loss to make personally. Now, how old is he? Is he 30 now? Partey, it's something like that. He's 31. If a big sizable chunk offer come in from the Saudi league and stuff like that, you see that Danny, you've just shown the amount of money that they're throwing around. You'd probably take it. You'd probably take it just because you're not anywhere else. You're not really going to get that resale value, and you're not going to recoup any of the money that we spent on him back. But I think he's so important to how we play.
He was 30 in June.
So was it? I'm not getting into the 30 until 31 thing, but or 29. But he's so integral to how we progress that ball, and how we move them chains through the middle of the park and allow the other guys, to do their jobs, for Odegaard to do his job, for how Jakub now is with Havertz. I'm still, as a player, I'm still a big fan of Thomas Partey. I think with Declan Rice in that position, with his athleticism, his dynamism and energy, and his ability to snuff out and intercept and stuff like that, and he can learn and train off Partey and get even better. And I think it will also end the ultimate reliance of us on Partey, and then we can start to wean ourselves off that necessity to have Partey and only Partey in that at the base of that midfield. But me personally, unless a stonking offer come in, I wouldn't get rid of him just yet. I don't know about you guys.
No point. I mean, I saw his performance yesterday, and the way he links play is ridiculous. He's the one that sets the Saka movement off. So as soon as he gets the ball, bang, he's always looking, especially to that right side. Now, one thing that I will say is I'd love to see Declan Rice has to learn that role. It took Partey a while to learn that role, because I remember there was a few games that he did play that lone six role where he was just everything was just pitiful, to be honest with you. I remember the Villarreal game that one season where it was 0-0. It was like the worst 0-0 ever when we're trying to score a goal. That was terrible. And one that helped him on yesterday was Timber playing on the left side rather than the right side. So I think against Man United, Timber played on the right, and it didn't really help Declan Rice a lot because he didn't really have a lot of support in the middle. But I don't know. It's the weird transfer that we've made this summer. It for me is Havertz, because I didn't see that one coming anywhere. The reason why I say that is because I actually thought, okay, Xhaka's leaving, Rice is going to come in and replace Xhaka. That's always what I thought was going to happen. And then by spending so much on Kai Havertz, that kind of money is a starter money, especially at Arsenal. It's not a player it's not like Calvin Phillips at Man City, who they pay 50 million for and they just sit him on the bench. If we're paying 60 million for a player, that's starter money. So that means one of Partey, and I mean, if you're paying 100 million for Rice, he's starting as well. So, but to be fair, we can't complain, because we've been complaining that we don't have enough backup, enough squad depth for so long now, enough quality squad depth, that I just think it's fine. Let's just go with it. Let's make it work. We've got a lot of games. Looking at our squad yesterday against Barcelona, I don't see why we can't go deep into the Champions League if we manage the squad properly this time round. Because we haven't been in Europe for a while, granted, but if you look at the squads against the teams that we're playing, like most Premier League teams, the top 6, top 7, they're as good, if not better, than most of these European teams now anyway. Like squad-wise, money-wise, the money we pay for players, the wages we pay for players, we shouldn't really feel like we're inferior to any of these teams when we rock up in the Champions League. Obviously, our record in Europe has been pretty terrible under Arteta, but that's what the squad is there for now. So we just have to trim the squad correctly, get rid of the Marquinhoses, who else is there? I don't want to. There's loads of them. Tavares, I sent you the list that went to America. I think that was the 30 that he was talking about. I don't even think he's mentioned the Tavares, the Pepes as part of that 30. So how many players do we have in our squad, or are they part of maybe they are part of the 30? Probably got 7 at home, maybe sitting there doing nothing. You've got what's his name, the American guy that he just spoke about, Trusty. You've got so many players that you've got to decide what to do with all these players. So, but once you squeeze that squad down, if you've got 20 players that you absolutely trust, rotate them correctly this time, not burn them out before February, March. And I think, why not?
I think also the rotation is key, as in small rotations for me is key, rather than, and I think that was one of the issues with the Europa League thing, where we was making too many wholesale changes. I think it's it's your ones, your twos. That's all it needs tweaking. One player needs to, so that everyone doesn't get run aground. But you don't just, for the one Champions League game, you're changing 7 players. And I think it's small little tweaks that you need to do, rather than, let's say, wholesale changes for me.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you so much on that, and that's such a pet hate of mine. Arsene Wenger, and Mikel Arteta, Emery, whoever, we're in the Europa League for 6 years probably. All of them rotated massively in the Europa League, and guess what? It made no difference to our league form. It literally, I think we play better when we rotate less, when we have that rhythm. Last season, when we were playing Europa League, Premier League, Europa League, Thursday night, Sunday, we were absolutely ticking over. We were just doing it. And you notice the Europa League teams were stronger at that stage as well. So we're just ticking over. We'd play Thursday night, Sunday. We'll go to Fulham and first half would absolutely spank them. But then when we came out of the Europa League, we kind of lost that rhythm as well, when we're playing once a week. I think some teams are better playing every 2-3 days, and I think that might actually help us.
I was looking at the Champions League things, like you were saying, Femi. Pot 1, ignore Man City. Sevilla, we beat them. Barcelona, we've beaten them. Napoli, well, they've got rid of their manager, and if they manage to hold on to the bloke who scored all the goals up front, then they're a decent team. Bayern Munich, well, they're struggling. PSG, no Neymar, maybe no Mbappe, and no Messi, and maybe no Mbappe. Well, they've only got 3 decent players. Benfica, rubbish. Feyenoord, rubbish. That's all the pot 1. Pot 2, Real Madrid, they're half decent. Inter Milan, rubbish. Borussia Dortmund, rubbish. Atletico Madrid, well, they're pretty good. Red Bull, rubbish. Porto, rubbish. There you go. There's no hard. There's only about 2 or 3. Do you know where the Champions League final is this year?
Wembley.
Wembley. You hear it here first. We're going to the Champions League final, people. We're playing Man City in the final. I won't be watching.
Femi's going to be in the TMZ box at Wembley. He's got it all sorted and ready. You knew the answer to that question too quick, Femi. You've got that box.
He's tapped Jeff Arsenal up for tickets already. Well, have people got any questions for us? Because we've been going an hour and a quarter. We're going to do maybe another 10-15 minutes. I think I've got most of the stuff out that we wanted to talk about. There's one more player we've been linked with, Mohamed Kudus. Okay, Kudus. I keep thinking of that game, the racing game. What was it? Gotham. Oh, talking of games, Steph sent us a picture of his nephew and said, "I said, do you want us to show it?" So there's Steph, Stelby in the chat, and that's his nephew, all dressed in the new Arsenal kit. So there you go. Maybe a future listener. Poor kid. Yeah, anybody know anything about this Kudus bloke? Because I certainly don't. He's 22 years old. He's from Ghana, attacking midfielder, right winger. We've been saying for ages that we need someone to cover on the right-hand side for Saka when he can't play. 5'9", shirt number 20. He started his career playing in Ghana, and then he went to Nordsjælland in Norway or Denmark. Denmark. He was there for 2 years, and then he joined Ajax in 2020. Last season, all competitions, 18 goals in 42. Season before that, he got 1 in 20. And the season before that, he got 4 in 22. And for Ghana, 7 goals in 24 games. Any thoughts on him?
I have a vague recollection of him being standing out at the World Cup, but I might be absolutely making that up.
Right-sided, left-footed.
I'm so tired and sleep deprived, but I'm fairly certain he had a standout, or not standout, but like a decent World Cup.
No, you're right. He did have a decent World Cup, and he plays different positions as well, not just sort of right. He's not like a right winger. He can play centrally as well. But I don't have a lot of information. All I know is I can't see us signing any more players. I think someone just in the chat just said we have 35 first-team players.
Well, there's a tweet here from someone who's reliable, Chris Wheatley on Twitter. I'm sure he's a reliable person. And the quote is, Ajax director of football, Sven Mislintat. I didn't even know he was at Ajax, but apparently he left Germany to go to Ajax in April this year to replace Overmars, who had been sending dick pics to people. So Ajax director of football, Sven Mislintat and Mohamed Kudus. Quote, we've very... think I should say we're very open and good. We've had, oh, that doesn't make sense. We've had very open and good discussions with both players and their agents with a clear wish in terms, all right, dog, this might not happen.
Yeah, sorry.
In terms of timeline, we need time to get good replacements. So that means it sounds like they're going to go. Although the best thing for Ajax would be for Kudus and Edson Alvarez to stay. I mean, that's a very bad translation because it doesn't scan properly. It wasn't my fault.
So I think he's only got 1 year left on his contract anyway. That's the problem. And he's told them he's not signing a new contract. So they kind of have to sell him, basically. They're in that position now where they just have to get rid of the player. So what are you going to do? It's now, I think Chelsea are very interested. Obviously, I don't know who knows what happens in the background. A few reports saying he's waiting for us to come in. But like I said, we need to sell players.
True.
We need to sell players. We just can't. You can't keep buying players. I mean, what happens then is, even now where we've got like 3 left backs, really, like what? I mean, Tierney has to be sold, doesn't he, for money? He just has to be. We have to get money from him. We can't be sending players on loan again.
I haven't been overly impressed by Tomiyasu in pre-season.
Oh, but he had. Remember, then he got injured in like February. That was his first game since February. We're in what month are we in? July.
But
that was his first 45 minutes. Yeah,
he was brilliant before though,
and he was playing left back as well. He wasn't even playing his right back or his normal position. So you're kind of like he hasn't played for almost 6 months when you think about it. That's a long time without games. And where's the game time going to come for him? I mean, you don't have reserve football anymore. He's going to have to play under 21s to get fit, because I can't see him starting at right back over Ben White. And if Timber's second choice at right back, where's Tomiyasu going to get game time? When does Carabao Cup start? Is that when you're looking next? Like, this is what I mean by sometimes you have to make tough decisions and say, you know what? You don't need a third choice right back and a third choice left back. If Tierney can only play left back, and then we saw Timber playing left back yesterday, we know Zinchenko can play left back. Cash in on Tierney while his value is still high, or you're going to keep him on the bench for another season and his value goes even low, or you're going to send him to Celtic on loan, which is just bad business, and that's the type of business that we just need to avoid. Just sell them. You have to make money at some point on players. It's all good having loads and loads of players, but eventually you can't just have the Chelsea situation where you had like thousands of players. Players can't train in the changing room and change in the changing room and things like that. You have to get rid of them.
I think Tomiyasu's versatility, I think, is such a massive plus for him, and a massive advantage is something that I think that Arteta likes. I think he would be, as a guess, I would think he would be the third defender that we would probably next in line to lose, kind of thing. I would say Holding is one. I think that would be out the door. I think you're right. I think Tierney, like the fact that he's not, has he started any of the games, Tierney? I think like Kivior and then Timber. Yeah, but he's always come on for the last like 20 minutes and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with Femi. I think as much as I love KT, cash in on him whilst his, whilst we're not having to give him away or something like that. He's got worth that people will pay for. He's a international top left back. I don't think he's suited to how we want to play right now. But I think the fact that Tomiyasu can play left back, can play right back, can play left back, and he's an international centre back, I think is massively in his favour. And I think that he would probably stick around, kind of thing. And I'm not sure how many clubs would take a punt on him after, let's say, he's been out for so long with quite a bad injury.
We were linked to another. Go on, Fem.
No, I was going to say, and Holding as well. That you just mentioned, I even forgot that Holding's another one that could go. I mean, he came on for 6 minutes yesterday, and
It wasn't good.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, bless him. Yeah, that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, I forgot about him as well. There's a few players that, and we it's still you always forget it's still July. There's still quite a lot of the transfer window to go. You know that last week of the transfer window does go a little bit crazy.
In the Wenger days, we wouldn't have bought anyone by now. We'd still be arguing over 1 million. Ray in sunny Jamaica says Kudus plays right midfield, attacking midfield, and a false 9, and he follows that up with, "What about the player from Brazil? Don't remember his name. His name was, I have gone and done a search on it, Bitello, which is João Paulo de Souza Mares. Not sure how you get Bitello out of that. 23." Right-footed, central midfield, but can also play right wing or right midfield. And I think that was linked to be about £8 million from Gremio, who have had hard times recently. They got relegated a couple of years ago and bounced straight back. But
those links are coming directly from Brazil, though, aren't they? So until I'll be honest with you, until I hear someone linked to the Arsenal media world. And I know people don't like to hear this, but until you see the guys that are properly in the Arsenal's media world start saying, yeah, this is happening, I would just be like, I've seen so many of these stories with these Brazilian players or this player, and then they end up at Nottingham Forest or Wolves. And you're thinking, hold on a minute, weren't we linked with that guy before? Wasn't there one that we're linked with all last summer, and then he ended up at Nottingham Forest in January?
Is it Danilo?
Danilo, yeah.
Well, they were desperate. Ray says, Runarsson, one of the other keepers, Trusty, Pepe, Holding, Cedric McQueenos, Lokonga, Balogun, or Eddie will all go either permanently or on loan. I think if they all went permanently, apart from McQueenos, he had a pretty decent loan spell at North. So where we're up to.
I think Trusty had a really good loan spell at Birmingham.
Player of the season.
Yeah.
He had a spell where I think he scored 5 or 6 goals all season. So
I'm only judging him on the skills contest that I saw the other day. That's all I have.
What a lovely bloke! How nice was that for him?
Absolute garbage he was most of it.
Yeah, but to be fair, it wasn't. Yeah, I was saying, wasn't Havertz absolutely a lot of people losing their mind at how crap he was at the skill challenge.
That's what I mean. I'm literally judging him on that. That's all I have to go on. So he's made up my mind based on that.
You've written him off.
Written him off.
In the last few minutes, Richard, what are your expectations for the first part of the season? Because I won't get you to put your foot down. We will be doing individual predictions for the season. Closer to pre-season, we're going to do like 5-minute pods, get everybody to do their own one and release them one after the other until you're sick of them. But your initial thoughts of how the squad building and how it's going to go next season, because we've only got one question.
Yes, so far for me, for so far so good. You look at those acquisitions that we've made. Timber looks, especially like say for the first half that I saw on what's it called, it looks like an absolutely phenomenal player. Let's say Declan Rice, I think brings something that we don't have, and you can see the qualities he has. I also think, though much maligned and he's got that little bit of a that kind of style that doesn't get the pulses rating. I think Havertz will be another player who I think will excel under the system that we play and how Arteta wants to play. So far so good. The only, like I said, down part that like I said Femi touched on is that we need to start getting those sales. I completely forgot that Lokonga was still at the club. That's another guy. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, we carry on. Who have we got next? We got Monaco, I think, next. Is that correct? And then Man City. Yep. We keep the Emirates Cup where it belongs, and then we absolutely, hopefully, like I say, dick over Man City in the Community Shield, and we start purposefully, and we explode, and we come out all guns blazing and set the tone that we need to set and that we want to set. You know, get teams scared of us again. You know, I felt maybe towards the end of last season, like I said, with the fatigue and stuff like that, we kind of lost our way a little bit. Not lost our way, maybe a little bit too harsh, but, you know, teams were a little bit more ready to come onto the front foot against us. Whereas, you know, I want teams being scared of us again. I want teams not even trying to press us because they know how press resistant we are. They know how good they fear coming up against our midfield and you know, our strikers and wingers and stuff like that. So hopefully my wish and my hope for this, that we absolutely step on the throttle straight away from the off and just absolutely go for the jugular in each of these games and just rack up the points and get the points on the board as early as we can.
Very good. I agree with that. Quick before you, Fem. Bronco in VA. Is that a picture of you and Magic Mike Feinberg there? You must be very short because Mike is only 5'6". He used to be 5'6" round, but he's only now 5'6" tall. So have you changed your name? Because I think we should. I get a feeling that we do know who you are. Stan, need to sort out getting you on for a late night pod with a couple of other North Americans and have a chit chat. Fem, how do you feel about what Richard just said about how the season is going to start? You can't really argue with that, can we? Well, you could do, but you'd be mad.
Yeah, no. One thing I would say is we've got to have a lot of patience at the start of the next season, because I think some people think this season is going to start the same as last season, when last season was a record-breaking start. You know, we hit 50 points at a record pace. We were on like 23, 24 points at a record pace in the Premier, not just in Arsenal history, in Premier League history. So that means those sorts of things do not happen very regularly, which means we better get used to a few defeats and a few draws in the first 10 games, unlike last season. And I don't think we should have a meltdown because of that's just a normal season. Last season, the start was abnormal. So I think we just got to be really, really, really careful with that and just be mindful not to just go overboard with the criticism.
You do know you're talking to Arsenal fans, don't you?
I know, yeah, meltdown over pre-season games. Yeah, imagine a league game. Imagine we draw our first game. It's absolutely crazy. People go mad. We got our second game is really hard. People think it's a walkover because we won there last year, which is Palace away on a Monday night. That's going to be rocking for them. Their first home game at Selhurst Park, same as last season. But, you know, with Roy in charge this time, and a Monday night game, first Monday night game of the season. Got to be careful, man. Got to be careful. And we've got to take the bumps that we're going to get.
We're talking about the games we've got coming up. Wednesday, I think we've got Monaco in the Emirates Cup, and then Sunday we have got Man City in the Charity Shield, not the Community Shield. How dare you? I think Arsenal have, I don't know, they haven't won it the most. We have won it 16 times, the same as Liverpool, so that could go up to 17. The last time we won it was 2020. We beat Liverpool on penalties after a 1-1 with no crowd. Time before that was 2017, 2015, 2014, and then we had a few other ones before that. Rich, is it important that we win the Charity Shield? Obviously, it'd be nice, another early bit of silverware that we can wave. It's not quite the Audi Cup, or what was that other one they won the other night for beating a load of sailors? The
Tiger, the Tiger French Loaf Cup or something. I don't think it's important to win the Charity Shield. This is going to sound really. I don't mean it to be sound defeatist, because I think if we show up and we play how we can win the game, and we can think. What I don't want is I don't want us to get blown away or be fearful. I want us to go there and take the game to Man City and not be intimidated, kind of thing. That's my biggest thing. I'd love us to win it and walk away with the silverware, but for me, again, I keep saying that phrase. For me, it's more about the performance per se than the actual winning of that trophy, just because of who it is. If it was any other team, I think I would only be focused on winning the game. But because of how we lost to City, especially like I say that second game at the Emirates and stuff like that, I think it's more to me about the performance and the fear that we have against playing Man City and going up against Haaland and De Bruyne and stuff like that. So for me, it's more about the performance for me. But I'd love for us to do a number on them.
How do you feel about it, Fem? Is it important?
Yeah, I agree with that. I just don't think we can play Man City and get absolutely smashed again like we did at the Etihad and at the Emirates a little bit, if we're being honest. And then it just kind of put that, as much as I say we should be careful for the start of the season not to overreact, I think that would dishearten us a lot, because we would know that they just always have number. And at the moment, they're the one team that every time we play them, there's nothing we can do. Like literally, they do whatever they want with us. They can beat us 1-0 and just control the whole game. They can spank us 3-0 within the first 45 minutes. Anything they want to do with us is what they've been doing for the last few years, and we need to find a way to just stop that. And I think, like Rich said, a good performance, just a good performance, a performance where we stay with them for the whole game. We apart from that New Year's Day game, I think we kind of gave them a good game when we lost in the last minute. That was the first time I thought, okay, we can live with them. But yeah, please let's. I'd love to beat them. I'd love to beat them so much.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be nerve-wracking, because I think that's one of the few teams in the league that can actually make me feel like, oh, this is all going to go wrong. It's going to be a nightmare. But we've got new players, we've got new attitudes, we've got a new system. We've been working on stuff. We smashed Barcelona 5-3, and it's not very often we have a pre-season friendly where stuff like that can happen, and we think, it's back on. But one thing we can be guaranteed of, it's going to be an interesting season, isn't it? And I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, it is. Can't wait.
I think we had one question. Oh, there's somebody new there. Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you? If you are new here, feel free to give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Best thing to do is go into your work's email, copy the URL for this podcast, and then just CC it to everybody in your company's email database. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Tell them I said it was all right. The one question we have is from Avon. What a way to end the show. How funny is the Joe Lewis news second time?
Oh, damn, it's frozen.
Oh yeah.
You are? Or you're not?
He's gone.
I think you froze, Danny. What did you say?
No, I'm here. I'm still talking. Can you hear me?
I can. I didn't really answer that question. I saw a tweet about this Joe Lewis thing, where it was his bail is something like 10 million or something like that, and he's offered to pay 2 million plus Joe Rodon over a number of weeks or something like that, which did make me chuckle. It did make me chuckle.
Does anyone watch the show Billions here?
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah, it just reminded me of that so much. I was just like, oh look, it's Bobby Axelrod here, just getting arrested for doing dodgy deals in the thing. Yeah, but yeah, it just reminds us billionaires doing whatever they want until the prosecutors decide to clamp down on them.
I just had a look. My video did freeze. I'm on Ethernet. I don't even know how that's bloody possible. I blame you lot. Oh, here we go. Question from Mark. Can you see Arsenal scoring 100 plus goals this season? Do you mean all competitions, Mark, or do you mean Premier League only? Because I don't think you can expect to get 100 Premier League goals, do we?
We got 88 last year.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I've got a little. I won't be surprised to hear I've got a spreadsheet of every single Arsenal season with all of their goals scored. Where is it? Arsenal all seasons, all games. Where's it gone? Oh, bollocks. I think I've deleted it. Oh, no, it isn't. That's not the right one. Are we going to score 100 goals all competitions, do you think?
All competitions we could. Why not? But Premier League, just Premier League. I think we did well to get 88 last season, considering we didn't have anyone score over 15 goals. We shared the goals around quite well. So you're looking at 15 for between 13 to 15 for Saka, Martinelli, and Odegaard. So we need a striker to chip in with more to hit 100 goals. We need a striker to hit at least 20 goals. We're gonna have to, because there's missing goals. How
many did Jesus score last year? I mean, he missed a big
11.
chunk of the season, didn't he?
I think he scored 11.
Yeah.
Well, last season we scored 103 goals, all competitions, 88 in the Premier League. And so the season before that, we scored 77 all competitions. Season before that, 94, 93, 112, 113, 121. When in 16, 17 year, but we scored 20 goals in the Europa League. I don't think that might have been. No, we scored 18 in the FA Cup. Well, we did win it though, didn't we? There's 18 FA Cup, 20 in the Europa League, and 75 in the Premier League.
Mark is saying just Premier League. We made a massive jump between the Arteta season. I think we were like 60 something.
Well, last season in the Premier League,
scored like 50 something goal.
88 in the Premier League last season. Seasons before that, 61, 55, 56, 73, 74, 77, 65. That 88 goals broke the record, beat anything Wenger ever did. Wenger's most was 87 the year after the Invincibles.
It was 88 was the most in the club history. 88 league goals was the most in the club
Premier League history.
So you're gonna look 100 goals. It's quite a lot. I don't think it's. I think it's very hard to hit 100 goals if I'm not joking.
Yes. Loki says we scored 127 goals in 1934. Good.
You say 1934?
Yeah, great. What a year that was.
Excellent. Cliff Bastin doing well. Ted Drake and all that sort of malarkey.
Right, one final question from Phil Macker. What is the one positive you have taken from pre-season? And then we're going to be done.
I think I already said mine, Emile Smith-Rowe and his form. That's my main positive. He's really encouraged me.
That Saliba is playing football. I was really worried that his back injury was going to keep him out, and we might miss him for the start of the season. So seeing him on the pitch, all majestic, is a massive positive for me.
And my one, I think, would be
so good yesterday again.
Oh, I'm trying to think what it would be. Just Saka. It's the easiest, but it's the obvious. He's just carried on from where he was last season, creating, and he is still running down the right-hand wing, stopping, cutting in on his left foot and getting past people. How he has gone full Robben now for 2.5 seasons and no one has found a way to do it. And Robben did it for, 10, 15 years. So hopefully he's going to be able to do that. I don't know how people can't stop him. I suppose you do it once, you get booked, do it again, you're off. So he knows that. But it's just amazing seeing what that bloke can do at the age of 21. It's excellent. Right, there you go, people. That is it. We are all done. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, tell everybody you know, tell them it's really important. And we've actually had quite a few subscribers in I think last month. We hardly ever get any new subscribers. I think we had 40, 50, 60 new subscribers in the space of 30 days, which was amazing because we've been stuck on 7,000 for about 100 years. So, yes, thank you very much, everybody that did that. I don't know when we're going to go back. Chris and Josh are too cool to do podcasts now. Chris did his spurt of doing 2 in a row and then he's lost interest in it. I don't think there's been any more signings that are going to be happening soon. So I think maybe the next ones might be players leaving because we've only really done one transfer show about a player leaving, and that was Xhaka. So if any more of those happen, we will get back to you. I want to try and do a show with Stan, maybe get Mr. Waffles on because I'm sure they won't agree on everything. That'd be good. Do a North American pod. That'll be fun. Richard, thank you very much. Nice to see you again. If people want to follow you on the Twitter, where are you?
At Cactus Cash. I'm rarely on there, to be fair, but yeah, on there, just spouting all sorts of nonsense about Arsenal or Star Wars or any sort of nonsense.
Oh, well,
but thanks for having me, Dan. It was a pleasure to be back on here, mate.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back on, talking a little bit of sense. And also, thank you very much to Femi. Femi, where will you be next reporting for HMTV, HVT, TMZ, whatever it's called?
Yeah. You can see my Twitter handle under my name as well. Yeah, you can follow me. I'm complaining about Arsenal season tickets at the moment. That's my big complaint that I'm moaning about on the internet.
But you can be found at the games hanging around with 6'9" Karl as your bodyguard, because we all know that you're paying to make sure that the people don't touch you, because you're not mixing with the oi for loy. Anyway, it's been lovely having you both back on. Thank you very much.
No worries.
And thank you to everybody who has watched today. It's been a bit of a giggle, and that is us. I'm going to put the thing back in my ear. I've got some pigs in blankets staring at me with my name on them, so I need to hurry up and go and get them in my belly. Right, thank you very much, everybody, and here is your outro. I'll be changing this soon, I think. Might be getting a few new ones. So here you go. Goodbye.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
He nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I was just eating a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at it. So when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately, and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.
Never in doubt.